The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackast. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We're three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
And knowing that you're dedicated listeners, I know that you know this is season 2, episode 8, part 2. So
No, it's not. No, it's not.
episode
Season 2.
I know
episode
that you know
8.
that you're wrong.
It's
Season 2, episode. It's season 3.
That's
No, it's
correct,
not.
yes.
Yes, it is.
fuck.
Hey, Chris, you want to tell us about, you got a fun fact for us there, buddy? Or what,
Well, I was going to break
on?
my fun fact down. You know, I did a lot of, like I was saying, I did a lot of research on Latvian gangsters. So I was just going
Right.
to kind of include that because I did promise some Latvian gangster information. So there's a big cafe in the center of Riga, Latvia, and they hang out there in front of tables. They have a lot of gabagool. They sit around. Yeah, they have capos, and there's a guy named Tony.
Oh, okay. So you're just. I think you're
shit.
describing the Sopranos.
It's like
Yeah,
Americans.
It's basically the same thing.
Oh, they're Latvian.
Yeah,
I've seen this
yeah.
before.
Yeah, you guys didn't know Tony was
Oh.
Latvian? It's
I
not
know. You know
Tony,
what?
it's Toni with that weird
Yeah.
little double dot thing.
Oh, the
Yeah.
umlaut. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. Oh
The
shit.
Do you
gabagool
put
lot.
those on an eye?
The gabagool.
I thought that was just the U. Like gabagool.
Hey, Jay, can I draw attention to
Yeah.
something? Because I did this. I did what
Okay.
I thought was the responsible thing to do last week, and I got called out for it. I kind of took over Chris's introduction to tell the listeners what we were going to be doing this week because I didn't think he was going to do it. You guys got pissed at me, and guess what? We let Chris try to do the intro, and he doesn't talk about what we're going to be talking about this week.
This is a continuation of last week, just to be
Exactly.
clear. People are wondering, if in case people forgot, we left you off in part 1 of the Gumball rally, where they were just about to cross the Latvian border, but there's been some concerns that cars have been getting hijacked right off the road. You know, dudes getting held at gunpoint, telling to get the fuck out of their cars and leave it behind. So the Jackass boys, they're going into Latvian territory. They don't know what they're about to get into, and that's where we're at in the story. Now, before we jump right back into it, is there any other business we need to clear up first? I mean, this is already a disorganized intro, so we might as well clear up all of the, just lay it all out
You
there.
know what's
and then
funny
let's
is
just fucking dive in.
I was, before
What?
you said this was disorganized, I was like, man, by all accounts, for us, this is pretty good.
That's what I was thinking.
we did a pretty good
Okay.
job. We got right into it.
Fuck yeah.
We didn't talk about how I almost burned down the Christmas tree. We didn't talk about our family outings. No, I think we're doing okay.
Okay, good. So if there's no more business, going once, going twice,
I do have a grievance.
3
I do have a
times.
grievance.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. We almost made it.
Please
Yeah,
speak
Chris,
your
what is your
grievance.
grievance?
Mike, you got to do something about your mustache, man. It's a little too intense.
What are you talking
You
about?
got to at least trim it a little bit, you know?
I
I'm
do
glad we're
trim
spending
it.
time
This
on
is
this.
trim.
This
This is ready to go. This is like my I sit once a week in front of the mirror for about an hour, and I go to town on this thing.
Well, take 2 hours next week.
Hey, Chris, how about this?
Yeah.
How about this? Grow a beard, and then we can talk.
Look how good that is. It's nice and thick now. It's all organized.
It's organized, unlike your intros to this episode.
All right, that was my business aired. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's unorganized, unlike the Latvian mafia.
Very organized crime.
which we may or may not encounter, in this next segment. So the boys are basically just getting into Latvia. It's sketchy here. We're not really sure what to expect. This is the part of the show where you start to notice, the production crew is really hamming it up. The music's starting to get a little more tense. Things are slowing down. People are whispering in the car, looking out the windows. It's nighttime. They're driving through like these sketchy ass roads. it really feels like they might have gotten carjacked here. They even decide at one point that, boys, this is too sketchy. We need to backtrack now. Just bypass this whole place. There's no way we're getting hijacked. So basically what happens is they pull back and they're waiting for a larger group of cars to form so they can continue through this territory. Their theory is if they're in a large enough group, it's going to be harder for them to hijack somebody, which is, I think that's a sound strategy.
You would think so, or the gangs just get more cars. Like the craziest thing about this is like, well, first of all, when they first showed them driving through Latvia, I was like, my gut instinct was like, oh, this looks so quaint. This looks amazing. Right? And then it's smash cut to, yeah, I was thinking that. I was just like, I would actually city, like to be here.
Yeah.
100%. And then that's when Johnny's like, this is sketchy as fuck. I'm like, I didn't think so.
And Steve goes,
Latvian...
well, the ladies are sexy though. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
He just wakes up from his sleep-o state and just like looks around. He's like, oh, there's some hot chicks. And then goes back to sleep. Has no idea that this whole carjacking scenario has been going on the whole time. But
he would be the guy if their car got carjacked, Steve-O would still be in the back seat. He'd wake up like in the crime center HQ of these Latvian gangs.
Dude, you know what is funny though? I totally forgot about this. I can't believe I didn't think about this before. When I was a kid, like 12, 13 years old, there's this other kid we used to hang out with. I don't even know where he came from. We bumped into him somewhere along the line, me and Matt, and this kid was a Latvian kid. And he just kept stealing cars, and he would just like pick us up in a different car every day, and we'd cruise around. And I was always I was always so nervous. Like I'm rolling around in like a stolen Escalade, like this thing, just like sitting around in the car. Like I didn't know that they were stolen cars at the time.
Yeah,
for legal reasons. But
I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations on car theft is well beyond is much less than 15 years.
Yeah, no, it's crazy though. So he was Latvian and he was jacking cars. So maybe that's what the Latvian mafia really do.
Well, it's a great idea. Like if they know it's coming through, it's like it would be like I just picture the game Lemmings and like how the lemmings just like keep driving, like walking through the same path and then falling down like everyone's like, there's cars getting stolen up there, and people just keep driving through because they think nothing can hurt them. Like
you sacrifice those first two guys, and then you get the latter guys to build it over the carjacking spot, and then the parachutes, and you're good to go.
Exactly. Gumball Rally's not making out of that thing unscathed. There will be people getting things stolen from them, but the wildest thing is like security is telling them to back down. Everyone's telling them to turn around, and Pontius is like, nah, I don't care. It's wild because like it would be like if you knew you lived in a place where people were setting up mouse traps, and then Pontius is just like, yeah, but I want peanut butter. Like I'm gonna take the peanut butter from the traps. I don't care. Like he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it was
also I'm really fucking good at mouse traps, so it's not even a big deal.
What a great fucking I don't know how that board game was played at all. But I did.
No, neither do I.
I did know how to get that weird Rube Goldberg machine. What
was the other one that came out around that time? It was like something to do with grapes.
Grape Crush or something like that.
Yeah, like crushing grapes, or it was like really
Grape
cool.
Escape.
But it's
Grape Escape. It was Grape Escape. Yeah.
Another one that we had no idea how to set up, but like it looked cool in the commercial.
100%.
So they're basically hanging around, seeing how many cars they can get. Steve-O gets in another nap here because he's sleepo. Actually, speaking of that whole sleepo thing, Mikey, tell me that this whole Steve-O waking up behind enemy lines thing is totally not the plot to some Pauly Shore movie, because it totally sounds like that.
Honestly, it does sound like that, or like the Owen Wilson behind enemy lines or something like that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it's kind of like an Encino Man story where instead of like falling asleep and getting frozen in ice, he just falls asleep in the back of a car in a drug-induced stupor. And wakes up in a crime syndicate. Yeah,
or it could be like in the army now. He thought they chose the water division because they didn't actually want to go to war, not realizing that the war was going on in the desert and they're fighting a desert storm all of a sudden. So
right.
Yeah, really, the war was the friends we made along the way. We decided basically at this point, though, the Jackass Crew, I should say, they've decided they've got about 7 to 8 cars. Fuck it, we're not waiting any longer. Let's try not to get jacked. So they're just driving through the night in Latvia. It's about 9:13 p.m. and they get lost in Malta. What's wrong with Malta? Oh, 4 people got jacked here? Sweet, awesome.
And they took their money, too. So not just the cars. They took their money, too, yeah.
And we get a little dramatization here, which is like clay figurines that they made like a stop motion video of guys getting carjacked, which I thought was
No, this
kind of
crash.
out of place,
Car
but
crash.
that was the
entertaining.
car crash. This reenactment was the one where like Pontius did that thing where he covers the bottom half of his mouth and goes inverted. So it's like his chin, like
never
the
mind.
eyes on the chin. And he's like a pirate. Yeah.
You're right. That comes later. The claymation comes later. That the upside down pirate thing was good though. But we're at the Russian border now. We drove through the whole night, and basically they're there. Like this whole we're gonna get carjacked plot just kind of gets dropped out. The hatch opens and we're done with that. Forget about it. The threat is gone. Let's go get something to eat. They're in a place I can't pronounce at this point, and I don't want to make an ass of myself, so I won't bother with
They're
that.
in Krasnogorodkoye.
Thank you, Mikey. They're gonna have some vodka and laxatives here with a guy. That's I can only assume that's a joke, but they're passing around the vodka, and yeah, it looks like a good time. A little stopover in a small Russian village of some sort.
Honestly, that bar looked fantastic. I would love, like, I don't know how they found it, but also, like, when you picture Russia and you hear about what goes on in Russia, like, would you guys have pictured this like it's just people going and hanging out at a bar like this? Like, it's not. I don't know. I just always figure it's like much more serious and like there's people like around. Like, I know that's like an archaic way to see it, but it's just like
You're
dudes
picturing
hanging out
this
at
as
a
a
bar.
Western. It's a Western. You're gonna walk in
a little
you
bit,
know.
or like just more, just less
Fight's gonna
rural,
break
I
out.
guess. You know, like
I know
more.
what you mean.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot of role. I'm after being in Ukraine before, and I know they're kind of similar and stuff along those lines in terms of like culturally. Like you have the city centers, but a lot of it is rural things. Like one of my things I've always wanted to do is just meet with random Russian people in Russia and just like sit at a table and they just have like a shot glass and a bottle of vodka.
Yes, like
and
they
have,
were
like,
doing here.
olives and like usually like some kind of like
Caviar.
some
Pickles,
shit like that,
yeah.
or maybe caviar if you're with the right ones, and just sitting there and just smoking cigarettes and just like shooting the shit and laughing and just getting drunk. Like that's kind of the vibe. They put on some weird techno music and you're just like just drinking, doing
Sounds
nothing.
lovely. Sounds like
Yeah,
a lovely
it really
evening.
does.
Yeah, I'm in. St. Petersburg is next up on the list, and it's about 2:16 in the AM now, and we got to slow down a bit because there's cops here. So they were supposed to have an agreement with the cops. Like, obviously, these dudes have a lot of money, the guys who host the Gumball Rally. So I guess it's either just one of two. The cops don't give a fuck, or maybe they don't know. Maybe, like, the message didn't really have the reach that it needed. But these police are giving the guys a hard time, and this is where we get the very first Chris Pontius line. Please refer to the shirt in figure B here on your screen if you're watching us on YouTube. Russian police are stern but fair. And Chris, I know this is like your favorite Pontius
My favorite line
of all
ever.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. Like I literally bought a T-shirt that said on it. It's just like I think about this all the time. I use this all the time in so many circumstances. From the point that I first saw this all the way till present time. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but it's just that little smirk on Pontius's face. I just that way he delivers lines, and he just has that charismatic personality about him. And it's very true. Like they're stern, but they're also fair, as we go to see.
It's amazing. You mentioned in the last episode, Chris, how when they were stuck at the border of Lithuania, I think the Lithuanian border, was it, or was it the Latvian border?
It was trying to get into Latvia from Lithuania.
Yeah, right. And everyone's stuck for like 6.5 hours. They've taken everyone's passport. No one's making it by. And Pontius just decides to make a joke of it and have fun with it. And you can tell, like, it's got to be frustrating. They eventually get pulled over 3 or 4 times from the cops. They're pretty certain it's 4 times, says Johnny Knoxville. And the whole time, you cut to Pontius, and he's just the same thing. Russian police, stern but fair. And you could be pissed off there. And I bet you if it's just Johnny and it's just Jeff Tremaine, they are. So thank God in a case like this, they had Chris Pontius there to just lighten the mood a little bit and give us what I agree with you, Chris, is probably my favorite line in Jackass history.
Yeah. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Dmitri looked like a gobnik.
What is a
It's like a kind of like a subculture in like Russian and Eastern European. It's like the kind of criminally kids, like the scummy kids. They always wear like the Adidas tracksuits. And you've definitely seen that type of look before. They're all over Eastern Europe, and he has that literal outfit on with that Russian hat and stuff like that. So
like the tracksuit mafia in
Night.
God, what is it? Nighthawk? Fucking Jesus! One of the Marvel shows. I can't believe Hawkeye. Jesus, I don't know why that took me so long. Yeah, there's the actual tracksuit mafia. It's pretty cool.
So the point here that I want to tack on to Chris's point about stern but fair for a second as well, because, you know, I was scared this was going to turn into a I didn't do it, you know, Bart Simpson type of situation where we got the line, and I was happy. I could have went to turn this the fuck off and just had a sound like 12 hours sleep. I was just so content with life. Everything, all the planets aligned and everything.
I literally cheered when it happened.
Yeah. And then you get the line again, like 5 minutes later. We're getting stopped by more cops, and he does it again. Russian police, stern but fair. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, it was almost as good as the first time.
Honestly,
maybe he should
better.
just stop there, cut his losses.
I seriously think that the thing that makes it funny is the subsequent times he says it, because it has a whole new meaning every time he says it. It's like,
and we keep getting it.
And we do. And it's almost like he's looking to the camera saying, like, you'll never break me, Russian police. Like that's like his protest song. That's the best part about it.
He's the Rocky Balboa in Rocky IV here is what you're saying.
Yes.
Unbreakable American spirit. Day 4, 6:45 in the AM now. They just got pulled over and they're on their way again. Basically, by the time they kind of make their way and get out of this mess, we get a report, I think, from Knoxville where he says we've had 2 hours of sleep in the last 60 hours. Their visa is only good for 1 full day in Russia, so there's no time for these guys to sleep unless you're SteveO, of course.
Yeah.
And basically, they just gotta keep hauling ass. So you really start to feel for these guys at this point in the show. We do get somewhere where they, they take a bit of a break and we get a bit of a dance off with the Russians. Someone's playing like an old timey piano. Great visual. Love this part.
And you get another check-in with Skinny. You know, Skinny, we talked about Skinny the last time. And it's here that I realize that I think Skinny is the anti-SteveO, or at least the anti-SleePo. He's like, they're both he's like dark SteveO, where like SteveO is, shaved head, no facial hair, whatever. This guy's like, and they probably look similar if they had similar hairs. He's got the dreads, like the dark hair. SleePo's been getting all the sleep he's had 62 hours of sleep in the last 60 hours. Skinny has had basically none. He's miserable, no sleep, dreadlock. SteveO's sleeping up a storm in the back of the seat. He's having a great time. He's got no hair. They're just like the opposite people. It's great.
Yeah.
Like
it gets sketchy here.
It's Spy vs. Spy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Batman
versus Joker scenario. Yeah.
So I got to ask you guys here, because this situation gets a little sketchy. You know, your visa's out in like less than 24 hours. You got to get out. They're starting to debate, especially Skinny here. He's saying, fuck it, I don't care. I just need sleep. I'll stay at this hotel regardless of the situation we're in. And like, there's even a chance they would miss the ferry if they slept there and not be able to get out of here. What do you think would happen if you woke up and everybody was gone and you're alone in Russia and your visa's expired? Like, how soon do the authorities, the secret police, come in and, nabbing you?
I know
up?
exactly what happens. He'd be in his room, the secret police would be coming, but he'd set up a whole bunch of booby traps.
Home Alone style, baby. Oh,
he got Home Alone in Russia.
Oh.
Home Alone 4.
I almost cut in front of your joke, because I was going to say I'd go straight to my brother's hotel room and look at pictures of his girlfriend and say woof. Like I was on the exact same page. That's great. Fucking awesome. I love that you said that.
See, now I'm glad I asked that question. That was
instead of a tarantula, what's Russia's animal? Tiger?
Ooh.
Or like a
Siberian tiger or something like that. Shit? Yeah. A bear. No, isn't it a bear?
A bear, yeah. It'd be one of those cool bears that wrestle all the friggin' like all the, those guys.
The Dagestanis?
Yeah.
The Khabibs. The Khabibs.
Well, they all looked exactly the same. They have the exact same beard, the exact same build, the exact same ass-kicking potential. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we got to get moving, though. It doesn't look like the guys are staying overnight here. They do make their way off to Helsinki. There's about 4 or 5 hours left to go. Basically, like, this is 252 miles. And I mean, at this point, it's looking like you can really tell these guys are getting worn out. They're getting tired. Yeah. We got another Chris Pontius Russian police stern but fair on the way out. And
this Russian policeman is like taken from GoldenEye 64 Like,
Right.
we can agree Russian military hats are too big, right? Like they were so good in GoldenEye because you could shoot them off and they do the flippy thing. That was amazing. That was the best part of GoldenEye. Like every hat basically acted as like body armor for them. You could just shoot it right off their head. But those hats, what are they doing? Why are they that big? That is absurd.
Probably keep you fucking warm in that cold winter, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fur ones do, but like the military ones that are just like a cop hat, but for some reason, like...
I think it's because they're smart.
Explain?
Well, when you're smart, you got a big brain, so you got a big head. They play a lot of chess out there.
They play... Oh, that's true. They do play a lot of chess out there.
So people can't kind of read their brainwaves, so they have these big hats, and that's how they become grandmasters of chess. Yeah.
So why wouldn't the chess players
level, you could analyze.
Why wouldn't the chess players be wearing the hats?
So that you couldn't see their brainwaves.
No, why wouldn't the chess players be wearing the hats? No, that I know is not true. For a fact. Well, I've seen the Queen's Gambit. I know this. I've played the board game based on the TV show Queen's Gambit as well.
That show's so accurate. You visually hallucinate chess pieces on the roof every single night.
Did you know they made a board game based on Queen's Gambit, the TV show?
No.
It's called chess.
Who would know that?
They made a board game. I'm serious.
Why don't you just play chess?
I know you've played it. Yeah. Well,
that's the weird thing about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're not that smart after all.
Listen, it's day 4 now, guys. 10:47 in the AM, and I gotta say, ladies, it's time to line up because this is your chance to smell Steve-O's undies. He's gonna put them on his head and run around and ask people to smell his head. This is getting real strange, boys. Real strange at this part.
You're grasping at straws at this point.
Really grasping. But hey, let's jump around like idiots in our American undies for a while. And maybe we'll even wrestle naked for a little while. I don't know. Teach me some Russian. This whole thing here, he goes up to a guy in a car. He says, teach me some Russian. And I can't remember exactly what he asks him. Did you have this in your notes? I for some reason I didn't write it down, but I know it was ridiculous.
I remember when he learned German.
Okay,
but I didn't remember him learning Russian. Actually, I must have missed that part.
Actually, you know what? That's what the wrestling naked line was. I didn't tie this together well. Sorry, listener, that was a train wreck. But that's what that was. That wrestling naked comment is what he wants to learn in Russian. So he asks a guy, teach me this in Russian.
Right.
This whole fucking part though felt like a Tom Green bit because he's like. Yeah, he's like doing that whole Tom Green pushing the envelope so far until the other person is uncomfortable and basically either just doesn't know what to say or just takes off, which is exactly what happened. This guy just kind of turns and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that. Right? Leave me alone."
Do you think they were? I don't know. It feels like that would be the last thing I'd want to do. What would you guys rather do? Drive through the Latvian gang territory in your car with 15 other people, or wrestle another guy in American underwear in St. Petersburg, Russia? Honestly, which would you feel more comfortable doing?
I'd like to wrestle the guy, to be honest.
Would you?
I feel like you would get arrested for doing that.
I feel like
immediately. Like I can't imagine you getting away with that shit over there. You know,
Russia's no.
I know, I get that, but number one, wrestling a dude is always fun.
That's true.
So at least you have the fun aspect.
That is true. And if you get arrested together, you can wrestle him in jail too.
That's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
You might learn some new moves.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
The rematch. Now you're in a cage match. It's great for the rest of your life.
No getting out of that one. Yeah, so we're finally at the fucking Finnish border, boys. We're finally here. Oh, my God.
Where did Gooch come from at the border, by the way? Gooch hasn't been around the whole time.
That's a good question.
Then he just shows up.
You remember Gooch, Chris, don't you?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I don't know. That's a good question.
And Trip Taylor, he also shows up here. And I'm like, dude, you haven't seen these guys the whole time. You've been in the minivan and you've been in the Jaguar. You've seen these places. I didn't see any of these guys.
Maybe I met them in Russia and they wanted to go on the cruise.
It honestly, that's kind of what it felt like. Seriously.
That would be the smartest move, to be honest.
Yeah.
So basically, we're still going like this to me at this point. I even wrote in my notes that like you see it. I've already said it. Like, you see it in these guys. Like, they're fucking exhausted. I was starting to feel like this. Like, I just felt like I needed to like go and lay down for a while watching this. Like, I would not want to do this. I think I would actually side with Chris and just do the fucking wrestling match. Because my God, this, like, I love a good road trip, but dude, I don't think I could do this shit. They're at a point here where Steve-O is just, he's like, you can tell this dude can't keep it together. He's sleeping again. They pour some cold water on him, and instead of like the happy, oh, you got me, Steve-O, this is angry Steve-O when he wakes up.
Steve-O's always angry when he wakes up, though. Like, that's to be expected. But I started to pick up on this vibe. Did you guys pick up on this too, where like the crew is now upset with Steve-O and like their pranks have a little bit of malice? Even here, when Pontius pours the water on him, there's a little bit of like, yeah, well then, dude, don't be fucking sleeping all the time, you know? Like, did you, is
100%.
Am I crazy in that?
No,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And here, by the way, if you can see, I mentioned this in the last episode after when we were talking about Steve-O headbutting the potato chips. In this scene, when Pontius pours the water on Steve-O's head, which would be 1,500 miles away from where the potato chips were crushed, you could still see the crumbs from the potato chips in the back of that car.
Nuts. They're greasy chips too.
Yeah.
So the next part, we have to get on a ferry boat in Finland on the way to Stockholm, Sweden here, and basically they decide before we got to do that shit, let's just, let's take a break. There's an all-you-can-eat buffet we can go to. And that's what they're going to do. But before they get there, they have this conversation with a guy who apparently got into an accident ahead of them on the road.
Yeah.
He's even got like a bunch of Polaroids with him that he took. And like, it's a gnarly looking wreck. The front of his car is just like pancaked. And the dude almost got his ear severed off. He turns to the camera and you can tell it had to be stitched back on. Like, this is a real Mick Foley getting stuck between the ropes situation. Dude almost lost his fucking ear.
Yeah,
Nuts.
it's gross. But it's almost surprising that this didn't happen more often. Like, clearly everyone's drinking on this road trip too, right? Like, everyone, when they get to the hotels, you see even before when they were leaving, I think on mission 3 to go, or 3 or 4 to go to St. Petersburg, when they're like, yeah, we got the Russian military escort. And there's one of the guys is just flat out drinking outside of it. He's just fucking drinking and having a dart. And you would imagine you see the donuts outside of the Latvian border. Like, I'm surprised that this is the only accident and curious to see whether or not it was the only accident.
See, the other thing is too, though, it's like, you can't drink and not sleep without falling asleep. They're definitely doing blow. So they're drinking, but they're doing driving lines. Driving lines and drinking cancel out drinking and driving. It's a known fact.
What is a driving line?
Oh, if you're too drunk and you need to drive, you just do a line first and then you're good to go. It's like you're normal again.
Oh, Chris, shouldn't we call that bumper cars?
Yes, we should.
Like, that would be way better.
So that's why I think they don't have getting those accidents. But I'm pretty sure every year in the Gumball, there's definitely a few wreckages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those pussies not doing driving bumper cars.
Yeah. Skinny is like made of cocaine at this point. Like, that guy is you mentioned it, Chris, and I didn't even pick up on it.
Eyes.
Glazed over. Yeah. His eyes are as wide as an 8-ball and as white as what's inside of them. Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
So here we finally get, we get Steve-O and Pontius kind of, like, they spring back to life for a segment here, which I fucking love. This is basically, this line says it all. I came on this cruise ship to party. Let's get fucked up. So the guys start drinking. We get a bunch of like cool stunts and stuff here. Just like, it's a nice, finally, they're doing some Jackass shit kind of moment.
Well, this is the best thing. This is full circle for Steve-O. He got his start being a clown on a cruise ship. He was running through his gimmicks. Like, he said he used to jump off the top thing of the dining room. He did that. Upside down handstands down the stairs. So he was right back at home. This is literally how he got his start.
Wait, Chris, isn't an upside down handstand just walking on your feet?
Yeah. He fucking did it, though. Like a real pro.
So you're telling me I'm good at upside down handstands?
Yeah, you've been upside down handstanding this whole time.
I knew you were good at something. Yeah.
I love that Steve-O gets up from his nap though, like for this whole cruise ship party.
Oh,
he is like the cartoon cat that smells a pie and it just wakes up and like floats his way to the windowsill. Like, you get like the scent lines waking him up and bringing him there. Like, he's alive now. You haven't seen this much energy from him since London when he was puking his guts out prior to the gumball starting. This again, like I said it last episode, and I know you guys agree with it. This whole thing, if it didn't have Steve-O and Pontius, do you even think it would have been aired? Like, what would they have shown without them? You know,
they might have made it into like a serious documentary. Like it might have
honestly,
had a serious tone opposed to a Jackass tone. Because like they spent the money, they had to do something out of it, but you could not run it at anything like a Jackass without these two.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, you need them there. I mean, shit, if you want to talk Jackass, it didn't get more Jackass than when they busted out shopping carts on a cruise ship and were going down the steps. It was a
fucking
trademark
awesome.
Right there. And meanwhile,
there's something
all
poetic in the fact that you travel halfway across the world and you can still find a good old fashioned shopping cart.
Do you
think universal language?
Do you think they were flipping the date signs in the elevator upside down? Remember we used to do that?
I do remember we used to do that on our cruises. Why don't you explain what that means, Chris?
I know, Mike.
I don't have the energy to do it. I don't have the energy to
nobody
explain
knows
it.
what we're talking about. When we were on cruise, like we'd be kids and we were drunk and we'd just try and like get into trouble, do stupid shit, and they would have like in the elevators they'd have these little plates on the ground that said like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever the day of the week was, and like one year we just like one cruise we're just like let's just flip these upside down so it doesn't show the date every time we're in the elevator. We did that. We proceeded to do that for the next like five years of our lives. Every time we're on a cruise, I'll still do it to this day, to be honest.
We just got to get on another cruise. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you poor bastards. Like, you're going to eventually keep doing that shit. You're going to go in the elevator one of these days, and there's going to be a man with a beard down to his nipples, his shirt off, hasn't showered in weeks, scratching, little markings on the wall, trying to figure out what fucking day it is. How long have I been out here?
He came in on a Tuesday, and he woke up the next day was Tuesday again. He thinks he's stuck in purgatory. Get me out of this time suck.
So all this shit's going down though in the cruise ship, where all sorts of antics, and meanwhile somewhere out there Leonardo DiCaprio is sinking out on a piece of driftwood and the ship's going down, and these guys, I think they'd just go down with the ship if it was all the same to them.
Who do you think drowns and who do you think
fun.
Stays on the driftwood between Steve-O and Pontius?
Steve-O and Pontius? Oh,
Steve-O,
man.
he'd be sleeping. Pontius couldn't wake him up.
No, Pontius is the fucking...
It's like, Steve-O, come on, move over. There's enough space for two.
No, man, Pontius is 100% the selfless lover. He would drown for Steve-O.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I think.
He'd do it in a heartbeat. But hey, I went on a cruise ship and all I got was 2 knees. Steve-O with 2 knees here at the end. A bruise, a bump, so fucking swollen and big, just below the kneecap that I swear if he would have hit that, a few inches up, he probably would have broke that fucking knee. That is a gnarly ass
That looks gross.
bump. Yeah, it looks infected almost. Like I don't think I've seen a welt that big before. Just from a bump like that. That was something else. But the antics are over. Everybody's hungover as shit, and we got to make our way now to Copenhagen. And Sleepo is late getting off the boat. Couldn't be bothered, I guess. But hey, now we get...
He barely makes it off. Like, he's running as the... It's almost like he has to Indiana Jones his way off of the ferry.
Totally, yeah. Jump the gap, yeah.
Yeah.
How's that for a Tony Hawk gap for you?
You could tell, like, they're fucking fed up. This wasn't even funny this time around. Like, it's like it's building up, like you were saying the last time. This time, they're just like, man, like, I fucking came into your room, I woke you up, and then you just fucking went back to bed. You were up, and he's like, was I? Like, fuck you, man. Like, we have shit to do.
You're a Wild Boys expert, I think, more than anyone, Chris, right? Has Pontius ever been this visibly pissed off at Steve-O before?
Not that I've seen.
I know.
I've seen him pissed off at other people before, but not
Aaron,
Steve-O.
Danger Aaron. I've seen him pissed off at Danger Aaron. But here's the scary thing about this is... I don't know about scary, if that's the right word, but like the most significant part about his anger here is that he's trying to joke and you can tell he just can't hide his anger. It would be one thing if you were like, oh, fucking Steve-O, you son of a bitch, or going at it just directly. He's trying to hide it. And I think it's because he realizes that if he pisses him off too much, they got to sit in the back of that car together for the next 1,000 miles of the trip. It would suck so bad.
Yeah. No, it's the worst scenario. You don't want to be in that one. How many knives do you think Pontius pulled on Steve-O on this trip?
Ooh,
Any guesses? Knife count? Should we do a knife count?
Let's do a knife count. Would he have risked bringing those into Russia? Probably, knowing him.
I think you could find them in the streets in Russia everywhere. I'm sure they just got switchblades just fucking sitting on the fucking at the stoplights,
Yeah, did they go to McDonald's? Because I think that's the Happy Meal toy that they give away.
Switchblade. Geez. But I got to ask you guys, just like they asked Chris Pontius, who do you like better, Sleepo or Steve-O?
Ooh.
I like Pontius's response while you think about it, because I love how he just says, I kind of hate them both, because when he's sleeping, I wish he was awake. But when he's awake, I wish he was asleep.
Yeah. That's honestly,
I honestly think that is the answer. Especially at this time of Steve-O's life. Like, yeah, you get a bit of entertainment, but I can see him just driving you fucking nuts towards the end.
I think I had an element of that with my family growing up, because I would either be in a fucking miserable mood and want to ruin everything for everyone, or when I was in a good mood, I would be the most annoying prick in the world. Like, just so much energy.
You think you might have done it? You still fucking do.
I'm not miserable as often as
No, you're not miserable anymore, but like, you're annoying.
It's because I keep it inside
all miserably, and it's all annoying now. Like, I'm trying to like, from decorating the fucking Christmas tree. Did I even talk about this the other time? And you just
I
did.
Yes.
Fucking weird guy.
You want to vent it again? We could do it again. It's part 2. Like, if you want to, Well,
he just does a weird sketch. That's Mikey's life. It's like he does these stupid fucking sketches, and the more that you try and ignore it, you're like, just ignore him. He'll stop. And he doubles down, and then he triples down, and we're all just like, fucking, just don't look at him. Just don't look at him. And he's in the background, and whether he's singing a fucking tune he makes up
Mikey
or doing
Green
some other
over
stupid
here.
shit. And then fucking finally you laugh, and then he stops. So I'm like, I don't know why we don't just laugh at the beginning. But the funny thing is, as much as it's so frustrating, he will not do it until it becomes so annoying that it gets funny. And that's, to me, is one of my favorite types of humor. Is when that's something that's so dumb that someone just keeps repeating, and you don't want to laugh, and then you just fucking break down. So
the problem is it has to be authentic. Like, I have to annoy you before it gets so funny because it's annoying. It's like the same thing where, like, you have to put Steve-O and Pontius in the back of that. You have to make them ADD out, which means it's going to be annoying as fuck. But that's how you can't get a diamond without coal. I don't know how the fuck I don't know what that saying is, but something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You can't get a pearl without a pussy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they say that all the time.
I thought about that.
Classic saying. They make their way back to the road, though, and somebody like drops a fart so bad it's basically like they shit their pants, and you just want to escape. I got to ask you guys. I know we keep derailing, but I think that's what these 2 episodes are basically just. That's what it's for. We're here to derail shit. So in that spirit, tell me a story if you have one of a time you farted and cleared a room, or something was so bad that you ruined a relationship over it. Has it ever happened?
I've got a good one.
Literally exactly everything you said happened, except it wasn't a room, it was a car. My parents almost got divorced, and my dad hit my mom with the car and threw up. So Mike,
beautiful. Let's go.
Elaborate on that story.
So we went to like a greasy spoon breakfast together. It was, I had a lot of coffee, hash browns, eggs, all that stuff, and in the car ride on the way back, I let one rip that was just atrocious. It was
right as we're pulling into the driveway. He couldn't have waited the 1.5 seconds.
That's true. It was right as we were pulling, which is the best time to do it. That's the best time because no one's expecting it. Everyone is, but also like
we thought we were home free.
In my defense, if you have to take a shit. And you had to take you've been like struggling for a while. The hardest place, the most difficult it is to keep it in is when you're 5 feet away from the 100%. Toilet. It's like you see it and you know that it's time, you can let it go, and then it's like no. It's like if you tell yourself you're going to do 10 reps in a workout, the hardest are always going to be 8, 9, and 10. But if you told yourself you're going to be 20, you could probably make it to 17, 18, 19, and then it would be difficult. Yeah. Like it's just that mental thing. So I'd let this one rip literally as we're pulling into the driveway, like halfway
like
in,
the
halfway
turn
out.
Is there. Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad starts to gag, and he's like stepping on the brake, like just jolt, like he doesn't know what to do. He's trying to roll down the windows. He can't stop the car. He's gagging. Everyone else in the car is like trying to make a break for it. My mom opens the door to try to get out of the car. My dad doesn't see, jolts on the brakes again, hits my mom with the car. They start to yell. My dad throws up out the window and they start to get in an argument, like mad, awkward, like everyone is silent. no one dude, it's serious. They were almost. I thought they were going to get a divorce
for sure
because my dad hit my mom with a car after he threw up because I farted in the back of his car.
1 second away from being outside of the car.
It was pretty good.
Like, I didn't think a fart could have that much power that it could almost.
Neither did I. But if you smelled this, Jay,
a broken home from a broken bum.
I got a call from Nick Fury after that. He asked me to join the Ass Vengers.
We could use you. Yeah, we could use a guy like you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, God. That is fantastic. Hey, completely unrelated to farts, but there's one story I could quickly tell because I was trying to think there's got to be one I can tell of a stinky fart. And I'm sure there's one out there that I have, but I just couldn't think of one at the moment. But I was thinking of this story the other day where I remember when I was probably like 12, 13, and I was at my buddy's house staying the night over there, and he had this sister who lived in the basement, and she took like a huge greasy ass dump, and it was one of those ones where you go in and you can
greasy dump is the worst way to
dude. I'm talking like it's the kind where you go in the toilet and you can kind of see there's like a little brown knob in the hole where the drain is, and you can tell they tried to flush and it was flush unsuccessful, mission failed, and they left it for the next person.
Oh no!
But because I didn't want to be like, okay, like what am I going to do here? I really had to shit. I'm just going to shit in there and hope for the best. And of course, I go to flush. And it's just it's a nightmare situation. I'm talking water coming down the sides, chunks almost, exiting the bowl. And I have to go up and tell this poor guy's dad, like, hey, Ed, listen, I probably shouldn't use the guy's name, but too fucking late. Hey, listen, your toilet's clogged. And of course, at that moment, I tried to make a point. I did the right thing. I tried to tell the truth because I always tell the fucking truth. I said, somebody went in there before me and it was already partially plugged, so you can't blame this on me. But of course, you know what happened? It was as if, because she was up here. She heard, she knew, she was cluing in. Oh shit, I'm not getting caught red-handed or brown-handed here. So it was as if I was a Democrat walking into a Trump rally. Mm-hmm. The whole room was just against me as soon as she spoke up. And when you're the person who did the deed, you got to just sell it. So you're firing on all cylinders to get the room to believe you. She got the whole mob. The whole family was after me. I could never go back there, man. I was the kid who plugged the toilet, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
The funniest thing about it is, like, in that scenario, you come up and you're like, hey, sorry, man, the toilet's clogged. Someone went before me. I don't know who. Someone went before me. All of a sudden, if someone stands up and is like, that's bullshit, no one went before you, I'd be like, definitely it had to have been that person who did that. And she just bold-faced lied. I think if I were in that room, I'd be like, okay, I think I for once actually agree with Jay on something.
Thank you. See, it's nice after all these years to get that vindication because I've lived with that pain, and that might be part of the reason I am the way I am today. So,
because you got shamed by a woman over shit. I mean,
girls, man. When teenage girls, they can get away with so much shit. Like literally in this situation, she got away with so much shit. She took that big greasy dumper, and I know the truth. And even if I go to my grave knowing the truth, I'll know the truth. Damn it.
Well, now the Jackass fans know the truth as well, Jay.
No, all
you have some vindication. Now you're going to get turned into a pee fetish.
Yeah, great. Day 5, boys, 1:09 p.m. We found some old ladies dressed as older ladies. Hey, Chris Pontius asks, what were old ladies in the 16th century like? And as she's answering, because this lady, you can tell she's ready. She's prepared for this moment. She's got like the documentation memorized. She knows. She's a historian. She's got a degree in this shit. Before she can finish her sentence, Pontius just pipes up with, slutty? And without missing a beat, she says, depends what you mean by slutty, which I thought, okay, good catch. Grandma's, she's in for the, she's playing along. I appreciated that.
There's multiple examples of how charming Pontius is. There's like when he's at the buffet and he's talking to that girl in a certain way, with these, like, how can you be a grown man and talk to older ladies dressed as older ladies and use that word slutty and get them like on board in a playful way? Like he's a magician. Yeah. He's a magician when it comes to women.
He pulled that off somehow. Cause like, that's a pretty rough word to use with an older lady. Slutty.
Right?
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't get slapped across the face, but who knows? Maybe she's into some freaky shit. I don't know.
I think it's not that Pontius is charming as much as he knows how to sniff out the Grandma Bertolli's of the world.
True.
Like from season, what was it, season 2? That grandma that wanted to hose him down. I think he has his eyes on them. He knows who they are.
What was that, Chris? It was Bertoli's cannoli. Is that the?
Yep. Oh yeah. Beautiful. I have some of her red wine vinegar.
Mm.
I thought you were gonna say I have some of her hair or something fucking weird like that.
No. I just was looking at my thing and I'm like, I'm looking for red wine vinegar. I'm like, Bertoli.
Okay.
I'm like, wow.
Bertoli.
What are the chances of that?
Grandma
You should
Bertoli.
make some cannolis. Yeah. Get on it, man. Listen, guys, we're going in to see what kind of crappy food they have here. Cheese pate. Chris Pontius is just basically just shitting on everything, saying all this food sucks and I don't want to eat it, which I thought was good. SteveO doesn't even want to eat or do anything. He doesn't even want to jump in the fucking moat. Come on, like Steve-O and moats. That's like a match made in heaven. He doesn't even want to do that. So
yeah, he better have packed his unicycle. It's surprising that he didn't. That's a little disappointing.
I think you guys are onto something though. That Knoxville especially, it has been getting real fed up, and I think it shows
100%.
right here when he decides, fuck it. I'm getting in the car with someone faster and better. Wearing this guy's wearing like a clown mask. I didn't catch who this was, but
That was Skinny.
that's Skinny.
that was Skinny. Oh
Yeah.
fuck. Okay. So he's in there with Skinny and Rich Warren, the owner of Fuel Records. You both know Fuel Records, don't you, boys? You know.
Give me fuel, give me fuck, give me that which I desire.
Sure. That's
He
the
was
one.
he was the engineer on Yoko Ono's Walking on Thin Ice.
Did you look that one up?
Yeah, of course I had to
No,
look
he just
one
knew that
up,
off
but
the back of his hand. He's a huge Yoko Ono fan. He hated the Beatles.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
that checks out.
I was really happy that she broke them up. Someone had to do it.
Yes. Knoxville. If I puke, he says, it's going to go all over Skinny for sure. At least he's fitting in. Like he's finding a way to bond with these guys, get them laughing with that Knoxville charm. But the cops are here, guys. And slow down, they say. It appears that Skinny's printed license that he brought with him, printed at home apparently, was just too big. So he said, sorry, you can't drive this car anymore, sir. Your license is too large. Please step out of the vehicle.
How does he think he's going to get again, this is just people with enough money, I guess, just believe they can get away with anything. Printing up a copy of your driver's license, like,
It looks so ridiculous.
it looks ridiculous. Like I don't know. It looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint and then printed at a library dot matrix printer. Like it was.
Yeah.
This was not the kind of thing that's going to pass as a government document.
It's like the first time you go to a buddy's house and they have one of those large novelty remote controls for their TV and you go, oh, look at this thing. And then after a few minutes, you're like, why'd you buy this? This is fucking stupid, man.
Yeah, we're done with this now. We're done with this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
Chris got the Grandma Bertoli.
Yeah.
He's holding up the red wine vinegar.
It's actually balsamic.
Oh, sorry.
But
So
anyways.
the speed trap is up next, boys. Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is the speed trap. I'm missing Jackass at this point, boys. I don't know what to say.
I know.
But Pontius does whip his dick out behind the cop and doesn't get caught right here, which I thought was mighty impressive.
Risky
Ballsy
move.
move.
Risky move. It's cock
So
and ballsy.
risky. And so basically the cop takes, I believe, the record dude's driver's license as well. And he basically says, fuck it, I'm still driving. I don't give a shit. Hey, he's rich. He doesn't care. He'll pay whatever ticket he has to at this point. So
Yeah, how
on
does
with the
that
show we go.
happen though? Like, I don't understand how a cop takes the driver's license and
Yeah.
then doesn't take
Just
the car.
leaves.
Like,
Yeah.
what is he thinking is going to happen there?
Yeah, I don't know. No, the logic doesn't really connect. I don't know if they were just maybe fucking around. Maybe he didn't actually take the license, but it seems suspect. I don't.
No,
I don't
I think-
maybe
I
he
think
was
'cause
hoping
if
for
you-
a bribe.
Well, if you look, they're literally like within a stone's throw of the border. If you're the cop, you're like, do I really want to deal with this fucking bullshit right now? He's going to be out of my country in 2 fucking minutes, literally.
True.
Cops
Could
don't like
be.
paperwork. That's the best way to
Yeah,
get out of
that's-
a cop situation.
Well, then, but what does he do with his driver's license then? He's got
Just
He
throws
can't
it
just
out.
like
He wanted,
pocket it.
I'll tell you, he's just doing a big dick move. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right,
Yeah,
man, I
honestly,
fuck with you.
it could be that.
Here's the situation. I get the fuck out of my country. Don't come
That
back.
cop just hated Yoko Ono and loved the Beatles and wanted to punish Rich Warren for that.
Like all miserable human beings. Yeah. Who
Yes.
hate the Beatles.
Exactly.
It's a small club, right, Mikey?
No,
Only a select few.
I'm proud to be a member of it.
No,
Okay,
they're
We
definitely
hold meetings
overrated.
in church
You're a
basements.
card-carrying Yoko Ono supporter.
Yes, and we're going to move right past the fact that Chris called the Beatles overrated.
Did you also? Yeah. Well,
That's insane. That's so stupid.
I think overrated's a little harsh, but I will agree in like maybe like I'll give you like 10% support here and say that some Beatles songs that people are like, oh, the whole anthology is good. There's some shitty Beatles songs. There are.
Of course
you
there
dig.
are.
There's
Of
some
course
bad
there are.
ones. There's some real stinkers.
You know
in
who
there,
doesn't
but
have any shitty songs?
Who's
Don't
that?
say Guns N'
Drake.
Roses. Oh, okay. Well, that's also not
That's
true.
actually not true at all. He's been garbage for the past little while. I was really just trying to rev you guys up, but
Listen,
There's enough revving in this Gumball rally, Chris. You don't need to do this.
touche.
we're getting to the finish line, though, boys. We're getting there. It's day 5 now, about 6:50 p.m., and we're at a party. Finally, we were promised parties in part 1. We actually get a party here, and this one looks like some fun. Like, they really let loose here. So basically, this is the one where there's like a dance floor. They've got people drinking and mingling. Like, it looks like they deserved this. Like, everybody fucking needed this so bad, and you can tell. They do a little speech, which I don't know if they were just joking here or if this was actually true, but they say we're banned from London now, so we can't finish the race there.
Because they didn't end up. They went to Bolu instead of
okay, so that was
instead of London. Yeah,
Jesus.
But
I love that.
Also, sorry. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I love that Tim Powers brought a firework and threw it off the balcony of like this 8-story
Inside the
fucking
hotel.
building.
Inside the hotel. Yeah.
He's
Everybody
fucking
gets
reckless,
kicked
that
out.
guy.
Yeah.
I don't like Tim Powers.
I
I'm just
know,
gonna
he
flat
ruined
out
the
say
party.
it.
I want to be
You
his friend
do?
so bad.
No, I don't think you do. I think he tries to big dick all of his friends, and I don't think he'd be a fun dude to be around.
Man, to have a guy that's willing to steal the keys of an 18-wheeler in fucking Lithuania and just have a Mexican standoff or a Russian standoff, whatever you want to call it, and be
I
a
would say a
grown-ass
Lithuanian
man.
standoff. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't go there. That's pretty fucking stupid of me. But he's a grown-ass man.
Oh wait,
that
but
thinks
wasn't Lithuania the Mexico of Europe? Didn't Pontius actually say that?
Well, I did that on purpose. Thank you, Mikey, for clarifying.
Yeah.
Thanks for the save, man. Appreciate it. Pound the potato.
Props.
See, Mikey, I think Chris is playing his cards right here, though, because you don't know. Tim Powers might be listening to this. He might love this fucking show, and that guy's got a lot of money, a lot of influence. You know, you got to say the right things here.
Hey,
Tim,
if he wants to
if you're
dump some
listening,
money into our
I
Google
will steal
AdWords
car
account,
keys with you, and I will light off fireworks
Steal
inside
car
hotels.
keys with you.
And I'll take the blame. I'll do a couple years for you. Just hit me with a milli when I get out, you know?
Tim, I will buy you a brand new spider vest to go with those Oakley sunglasses, and we'll go to Aspen and have a great time.
I bet he's got a fucking closet full of those spider vests, all like pristine. He doesn't even wash them. He just throws them out and puts on a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also like James Bond when he's just like it's the same outfit in every hanger.
I feel like
of
he's
his
upgraded to
closet.
Montclair, though. He's like really stepped
Oh,
it
maybe a
up.
Okay.
Montclair.
You know, like that's
Yeah, I can
Spider's
see
new
that.
money. He's been around the game for a while. That's when you get that Montclair classiness.
Ooh, I like that. By the way, Jay, you mentioned when you were talking about this, you're like, this looks like the party they deserve, this and that. This just looks like a hotel banquet room piece of shit party. This looks way
It looked
more
like a
low
convention,
class.
like a work
Okay,
convention.
That's
okay.
it.
But
I
it's not about
expected
the
way
room,
more.
Mikey. It's about
No.
what you do in the room.
Light
You
off
know?
firecrackers. Yeah.
Pontius was ready to fuck. Everybody was having a good time. People were rubbing and grinding on the floor, dance floor. Come on, you got to tell me there's at least a portion of those people went and fucked in the bushes because they couldn't stay in the hotel.
Oh,
but,
100%.
You know,
That's what you
100%
do out in
happened.
those countries.
Fucking
Yeah.
bushes?
Yeah, I went in Ukraine. I went to a club, and it was basically the best day I've ever had. It was like $100 per person. There was like 10 of us. We didn't have our like a booth. We had our own like private room. They brought in like hors d'oeuvres
Shit.
and appetizers. The girl would be like, "Oh, can I get you a pack of cigarettes? Light your cigarette for you." There was a bouncer in front of our room that literally just got hot girls to come in and stopped ugly girls from coming in. Like I was walking in and there was these 3 girls. I shit you not. The first 2 are like 100s out of 10. The second one was like a 9.5 out of 10. Like I would have crawled to my hands and knees to like hook up with this chick. And he like looks at the first 2. He's like, "You're good." Looks at the third one's like, "No." And she's like, "But these are my
Whoa.
friends." And her friends ditched her and came into the booth. So I brought her in. I'm like, "No, she's with me." So that worked out well because she was still like hot. And then, yeah, you just basically take them out. It was like in the middle of a forest. And then you go and have sex in the forest. And then you switch them up for a
What?
new one. Yeah, it was the greatest fucking day ever.
That is wild.
We left the club at
Yeah.
like 2 p.m. the next day. Like it was
Oh, you
100%.
stayed the whole night.
We got there at like midnight and we were there for like until like, I don't know, for what's the 14 hours?
Was Skinny there talking about how he hasn't slept much in the last 60 hours?
Complaining as usual. Yeah.
Dude, it was a crazy day, man. Holy crap.
Holy shit. Okay.
All right, boys, on we go. Beautiful England. Let's go. Oi, oi, oi. People in Denmark watching the cars go by from the overpass because they got nothing better to do. Yeah, here we go. We just passed nut shoved. Is that nut shoved?
Nut
Do I
shoved.
get that right?
Nut shoved.
Wonder the population of nut shoved is.
There's
I
some
could look it
weird
up.
names of places in
Of
England.
course, I bet you could.
And my favorite stuff, my Cock Fosters, I was just going to say. But like there's like, every time you're on the train, it's the last station. Cock Fosters.
Cock Fosters. And also, what was it? Middle fart? Yeah, nut shoved in middle fart.
There's a map. I seen it on Google Maps where if you go from town to town, you hit like one town called like I'm never going to remember it, but if I find it, I'll post it to our Instagram.
Oh, so the story is just there's also another cool place?
No, just funny names. I just can't think of it. I was trying to backtrack out of that. Time, so thanks for dragging me back in.
Yeah. One time we were driving as a family, and Chris says to us, we passed by this like a casino or something, and or like a racetrack. Sorry, it's a racetrack, and he's like, guys, this is fucking wild. Do you know how much money the slot machines at that racetrack make every day? And we're like, oof, I don't know, like 2 million, 3. Like, I have no idea. And we're like, how many? He's like, I don't know, but it's fucking a lot.
I did, but I forgot. I don't want to lie. I'm not a liar. I'm a man of the people. Just like Jay, like I'm not a liar. I stand on the truth. If I don't have the right fact, I don't say it. Just like the Lithuanian gangsters.
Yeah, no, that was all 100% factual. Yeah, and don't look it up because you can trust Chris.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we're trying to find the Schloss Museum. You guys ever been to the Schloss Museum?
The Schloss Museum. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of, where Johnny learns how to say things in German,
right?
And then asks. This was Johnny, right? Who was yeah. But can you like, you can tell at this point they're on their way back. The trip is almost done. This is the most we've seen from Knoxville the whole time. And I bet you it's Tremaine being like, yo, we don't have enough content. Like, we just did a whole 3,000. We've got a budget. We've got to give MTV something for this. You just got to go out. And Knoxville does the thing. Remember the episode of Jackass where he goes to my anus? And they just based a whole sketch off of him saying oh, I'm doing this in my anus.
Basically that again.
That's all this was, yeah.
Trying to get directions to the Schloss Museum.
Schloss Museum.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a question for you guys.
Sure.
What do you think a Schloss Museum is?
I was going to ask you that. Yeah, I was hoping you'd look it up, but I'll try.
I know it. So
my best guess, like I know it's probably not right, but
okay,
linguistically, it sounds as if it would be a place that has like all the artifacts of where they used to slosh wine, like slosh grapes for wine.
Mikey's. He's trying.
Am I right? You
impressed or he's laughing at you?
No, because no one calls it sloshing wine.
But doesn't that sound like that's what it would be called? Slosh. Remember that fun video with the girl?
Okay.
Yeah.
She was
one of the best fail videos either. So that's Chris's get. We'll do Price's Right rules closest without going over. Jay, what do you think it is?
It's some sort of fucking fetish museum, isn't it? Like some dirty kind of like BDSM. You go in there and there's just some weird shit for poking and prodding. There's gotta be.
You would think so. I thought so. So I was looking it up, and it turns out the Schloss Museum is just a palace that's out there in Copenhagen.
That's kind of boring,
or around there. Yeah. It was really boring. Yeah. I thought it was going to be something big. That's why I looked it up. I was like, oh, haha, he's asking for where's the sex museum. I thought it was going to be like Schloss was sex or something. Like, where's the sex museum? But no.
So now we're going to play a game called Drive Down the Highway with the U.S. flag waving out the window and see how many cars we can pass before somebody shoots the rear window out of the car. Because you're, again, probably angering a lot of these people who, I don't know, maybe don't like obnoxious Americans. Just a guess. A guess.
This wasn't someone shooting the rearview mirror. I played this back because I didn't get what happened. But did you guys did you understand what took place in this scene with Pontius? Did you see it?
Lay it out for us.
So Pontius he's sticking his head out the window with the American flag being obnoxious as Jay set up. And then he kind of like abruptly moves his head back in. And right after that, a post on the side of the road knocks the side mirror off, which means if Pontius didn't get back in, he would have lost his fucking head.
Jesus.
It's wild. And they just kind of like,
that was funny.
Pontius is being Pontius. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little nuts. Like, I feel like if you did that though, just like any of these European countries, especially if they were still like just in Russia doing this shit, like, I don't know, man. That's pretty fucking sketchy.
Yeah, the American element of it, you're always just like, maybe not so much in like Copenhagen, but in Russia, not. I was always like, I don't think they like that here, man.
No, I don't think so.
If this were in Russia, he'd be on the side of the road, and a passerby or in a car next to him would have seen that he almost got his head cut off, and he would have looked over to the person in the car with him and said, "If he dies, he dies." Good old Ivan Drago. Yeah.
Rocky reference number 2. Thank you.
Number 2, baby.
Somebody get the Rocky counter going. I love this part because there's so much fucking traffic. They hit a big traffic jam. They decide, fuck it, Gumball rally rules, baby. Let's just drive in the shoulder and pass everybody. Before they realize, after driving for, I don't know, like an hour, they've been going the wrong way. They're somewhere in Belgium. They're lost. They're at like a cow farm. They don't know where they are. So they got to turn around and go back the way they came. Oh, man. That
always sucks. There's nothing worse than spending time on a road trip going in the wrong direction, or like spending time that you'll never get back.
Just ask Harry and Lloyd.
I was going to say.
They almost ruined their
Dumb and
friendship.
Dumber situation.
Almost ruined their friendship.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like, Chris, you and I would have a good Dumb and Dumber style road trip on the back of like a weird little motorcycle like that.
Wait
we would
a minute.
fucking hate each other, but have like a good time doing it.
The scene where
the travel dynamics.
Yeah, that's true. That's
okay. The scene where I'm picturing the two of you, by the way, when I say this next part, but the scene where the two of them are on the bike and I can't remember who's in the front. It's Harry on the back, right? He pisses on Lloyd, I think.
Yes.
And they get off and he's frozen. He's stuck to him. Real talk. If you're driving down the highway and it's cold as fuck because it's windy, it's not the middle of the summer here. A guy pisses on your back. You might be a little pissed initially that it's happening, but I think there's a part of you that's kind of like, all right, I'm okay with this right now.
He even
It's
says
warm.
it. He says, keep on going. It's warm.
Yeah. It's nice and warm. Yeah.
I
And
think
then
I
they're
feel the
frozen
same way.
together. Yeah.
But anyway, they went the wrong way. They turn around and I just have in my notes here, and I don't even fucking recall what this ties to, but it just says licking Steve-O's feet. So if somebody wants to jump in here.
It's Pontius and Steve-O licking each other's toes.
Okay.
This is just, again, it's like, oh, fuck, you could tell they just wanted to get the fuck home.
Totally.
And they're like, okay, let's just film a couple random things and get to this wild ass party, which I think is finally the thing that they wanted more than anything. Never mind the one that they had that happened at that convention hall that you thought was so fancy. I think this is the party that they really
shut
wanted.
up, man. Come on. I already explained this. But fuck, guys, we made it. We're in England now at this point, says Knoxville. They went holy shit, 3,212 miles total. They didn't win though, but hey, you know what? Day 6, it's 1 a.m. Let's fucking party. Let's put this thing to bed. They go and they actually get a fucking Gumball Rally trophy, which was kind of neat. Get a keepsake to take home. Remember this terrible, terrible experience that's probably better left forgotten. And that's basically the end of it. And like, I feel like I just fucking drove 3,600 miles or whatever watching the Gumball Rally, if I'm honest with you guys. Lots less partying than I thought there was going to be. It was exhausting. And honestly, to be fair, I don't think they like this very much either. To be real, like I think they didn't know what they were getting into, and once it started, it's like, well, fuck it, we gotta finish. We're on contract here to have this episode out, so they had to do it. But really, for me, I'm just gonna throw this out here. My final words on this episode: I think it was a miss, and I think it has a lot of like fucking nostalgia for people, and it has a lot of like hype around it because of what it is in concept. But honestly, man, for a Jackass episode, I could have done without this. I would have just loved to have 2 more episodes of straight stunts in the season than this, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I'm curious to get your thoughts, Chris.
I liked it. I like it a lot. I will say I don't like having to break it down and do a podcast on it. There wasn't a lot. Like it's a lot different when like we're talking about things and you're trying to find material, and there wasn't a lot of like big moments that are easy to break down and like actually kind of come up with some material about. But sitting down watching this, I like the journey, man. It's fun. I'm all about traveling and road trips. I love when things don't go as planned to a certain extent. Like in the moment, I might be frustrated, but like those are my favorite times in trips when you look back, you're like, yo, that sucked, but that was also a great fucking story. So to me, this is just something I could sit back and watch. It's just, I think it's not the easiest thing to kind of soak out material that we could talk about. Maybe it's just a feeling I like from it more than actual content.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It didn't feel like there was as much to talk about. And I remember thinking this like halfway through the episode, like, holy fuck, a lot has happened. And I can't really remember a little bit of it. which is why I think so much of our conversation today has been about like personal stories relating to what's going on.
Yeah, we found a way to stretch this into 2 episodes. Leave it to us to take the most boring fucking jackass thing ever and make you guys suffer for 2 fucking episodes with us.
I had a good time. I was like sleeping the whole time and waking up and being like, hey, can I tell a joke quickly?
Yeah. It was kind of like being on a road trip in a way, wasn't it, boys?
A little bit. Yeah, it was.
A lot of sharing of stories, derailing things. It's nice.
Before we close off the conversation on it, I just want to draw our attention because it's kind of in the background and I don't think they do enough to focus on just how fucked up that last Gumball rally party probably is. Right. Think about all the money. Think about Tim Powers being Tim Powers. Now all of a sudden they don't have to worry about waking up the next day to drive another 1,000 miles. Like, this absolutely had masked sex and homeless cage fighting.
100%.
What are some 100%? There's like,
Rufus
and I'm
the
not
Sun
even joking.
They flew him in from America.
They absolutely did, and they paid him a ham sandwich, and that's it. That's all they gave him. And then they made him find his own way home. And when he said, no, but I need to get back to LA, they said, you're homeless, you don't have a home. Technically, you're there right now. And then they pushed him down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, they broke out the contract being like, yeah, we said we'd get you home, but you don't have a home. Yes. So they used their best lawyers. They paid their lawyers $100,000 just to like get that contract out and instead of just flying him home.
To avoid buying a $2,000 flight for him. They spent $100,000 on his lawyers. What else do you guys think happened at that party? We got the cage fighting, the homeless cage fighting. We got the mask sex,
gay sex for sure. I feel like the elite has to have gay sex or child sex.
Child sex.
It's the elite, man. Do you not hear the news these days?
Yeah, you kind of. Yeah, Chris is a big Pizzagate guy. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah, and all that QAnon shit. Balenciaga's up to no good, man. It's scary, man. Honestly, they're trying to groom these fucking kids, man. Fuck them. Trump was supposed to save us, but they fucking kicked him out of office. Bullshit.
Jesus, Chris, you do not do that on this podcast. You have to wink to the camera now because I don't want them as listeners.
Dude, do you know how good of a mob that is? They're fucking vocal. We all get so many fucking likes. It's my boys, it's my fam.
Okay. All right. Well, I know I'm going.
I'll wear my anti-Biden shirt next week.
Anti-Biden.
Sounds like a punk band.
Anti-Biden, yeah.
Okay, big party though. Everybody's raging. Wild sex, booze. There's at least one guy though in the kitchen in a wool sweater and a beanie playing an acoustic guitar somewhere in there.
You know what? You're probably right, but it's. I think in this case, that guy's in a cage and people get to throw food at him.
Okay, I like that better. Yeah. Well, that's the Gumball rally, boys. Holy shit. We made it. And in the words of Chris Pontius, I think there's no better way to close this out than when he said, "It was horrible. I hated all the countries and the other racers. I never wanted to go to these countries. These people were ugly, and they didn't even know who I was."
And he calls them racist, too.
Yeah.
He's like the guy running around in countries that notoriously hate the United States in U.S. underwear and flags, wrestling men. And he's like, I don't know. They didn't like me for some reason.
All right. Should we do one more round of MVP, LVP?
Let's do the MVPs and LVPs. Chris, you want to start us off? I can go if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to give in this one the yin yang combination of Chris Pontius and Steve-O. It has to be. And I know Steve-O was sleep-O this whole time and he kind of shit the bed a little bit, but their dynamic was the only thing that gave this any substance. I will give a nod to that young Peter Yan who kicked Jeff Tremaine in the nuts, but that was from last week's one because I think that kid was a stone cold killer. But no, I think the dynamic between Chris Pontius and Steve-O, that weird mix of like love and hate was so on display here, and I think that's the only reason why this is worth watching.
I got mine.
Okay, go for it, man.
The Russian police, because they're stern.
Oh yes,
but fair.
That was easy.
Yes, that's a great one. That's a great one.
I don't know how I missed that one. Yeah, I should have jumped right on that. But yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I don't know why I don't think of this shit more while we're doing this.
That's what makes
it more fun, right? I purposely don't.
Yeah. You know what? Let's go with on this one. You know what? I know who I'm going to go with on this one, actually. Let's do the guy who fucking got in the car wreck and almost lost his ear because despite all of that, despite being in a terrible car accident, somehow he managed to save his Polaroid camera and keep it in good enough condition to take Polaroid photos to share with his friends.
That's a good point.
Everybody gets one.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's a good one. So LVPs, I'll start us off. My LVP in this one, sometimes I want to go with the joke one. I went with Johnny Knoxville's handlebar mustache on the last episode. This one's not a joke, and I hate doing it. I think I've done this once before in the history of this podcast. My LVP is Johnny Knoxville on this one.
Whoa.
Didn't do enough. Like you, and I know a lot of people didn't do enough in this episode, but like he is the captain. He has to find a way to pull more together, and he just wasn't there at all. It's not enough to point at a sign and say middle fart, although that is pretty funny. He had to be there for a little bit more, and I don't know what more that could have been, but it wasn't on display. So Johnny Knoxville's my LVP.
My LVP is the Latvian gangsters. They had the fucking score of a lifetime. They had a convoy of fucking like $1 million cars and shit with a bunch of rich people with money. All they had to do was fucking put some spike strips on the road, take out some machine guns. You're sure they got all that out there, and the Latvian gangsters couldn't get the job done. So they are the LVPs.
That's true.
I'm actually going to go on the other side of that divide and say cops on this one. Because anytime a cop appeared in this show, there was no fucking fun cops on this show.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Look at these young lads getting into trouble. Like they're always fucking taking away licenses or slowing down the procession or just trying to like ruin the fun. So fucking European cops, you lose this episode.
Yeah, speaking of slowing down, I could have given a big LVP for whoever it was that died in that funeral procession in our last week's episode and held up half the Gumball rally as a result of their funeral procession.
Chance. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time we rewatch the Gumball rally, I'll use that.
Next time someone dies on Jackass, you can save that, keep that one loaded. But yeah, that pretty much takes us to the end of this episode and the end of Jackass TV, boys. Officially, we've done it.
Yeah.
For now, I should say, because who knows what the future holds, right? Yeah.
No, we still got a while, boys.
Well, no,
just Jackass, like the mainline Jackass TV show.
Oh, yeah.
This was the last thing we had. Yeah.
And there we have it, boys. Episode 88. It was great. I don't know, fucking dedicated to Eric Lindros. And
88's not a good number, man.
No? What's wrong with 88?
That's a Nazi number.
Is it?
Yeah. The HH, Heil Hitler. 88. That's why they always got 88 tattoos.
No fucking way.
But 8 is a really lucky number in
Jewish religion,
Jewish
which is actually kind of ironic, eh? But yeah, no, that's if you like see like the guys in jail and shit.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Oh, they suck.
Yeah, fucking assholes.
Well, thanks, Chris. Now I have to somehow transition out of this and segue into, if you want to talk to us, at Jackass Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok and all that shit. Or you can email us, jackasspod@gmail.com and give us your thoughts. What do you think of this? Tell us your road trip stories. We'd love to hear them if you got some good ones. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from you, as usual. Anything else, boys, before we wrap up? Stone cold silence over there. I'm noticing.
Well, I thought I was just going to leave you to it. I thought you were on a good roll there. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. No, I appreciate that. All right. Well, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye. I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Bye. I'm Mikey Aaronworth. And this has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it!